Hey, Jeff Bush, Grow My Profits. Just kind of talking about the 6 steps that we use to grow businesses. So because I started 4 businesses from almost nothing, 2 of them were zero, 2 of them were, one was a $500,000 business, one was $50,000. When I came in, I used these 6 steps to scale up. So the biggest one I did was I scaled one from 0 to 40 million, and the company made $16.9 million in profit. And I was able to exit that business a couple years ago for a pretty good size 8-figure exit. It took me 10 years from start to finish to build and sell that company. And I think now that I've got 4 companies behind my belt, I think I could do the next one faster. And honestly, I looked at going out and buying another business that's doing, $2-3 million a year in revenue, and just buying another business, putting 100% of my effort into it, scaling it up to 20 or 30 million and selling it again. But I thought it would be more fun to take a small percentage of ownership in maybe 10 different companies and help 10 different companies in 10 different industries use these 6 steps to grow revenue, grow profit, have a big exit, or make enough money to replace yourself as the CEO so you have control over time and money. If you're making $1 million or $2 million a year and you only have to work 2 or 3 days a week, what a dream life, right? The last step in our process is to expand your operations plan. I'm not an operations guy. I'm not a big fan of the ops side of the business. I am more on the sales and marketing plan. But if you're the CEO of a company, you're responsible for sales, marketing. I don't like legal, but I had to deal with all the attorney stuff. I don't really like accounting, but I had to deal with a CPA and an outsourced CFO and a balance sheet and a P&L. So you got to know enough about all of it to run a business. It's not my favorite subject, but I was pretty good at it. I think what I was really good at is finding really good operation people that could come run my operation so I didn't have to do it. Our operation at my last company, we had a warehouse with about 35 employees, and it was a 12,000 square foot building. We probably had $1 million worth of equipment in the building, and it was a production facility. We had to design and print and fold and mail 10 million letters per month. And it was quite the operation. And I'll tell you something, that when I first built the company, I had an operations manager. We got up to mailing about 2 million letters every month, and we were only mailing like 1 million internally, and we were having to outsource the other 1 million, and it was costing us a lot of money to outsource. So I'll never forget, I went up to my operations manager and I said, listen, we need to build the operation to mail 2 million letters a month. We're only doing 1 million, and we're losing money having to outsource 1 million letters. And he said to me, this place was never built to do 2 million. It's a small family operation, and we can't do 2 million. And that day I thought to myself, you're done. You're done. You just nailed the final nail in the coffin, that if that's what you believe, that we can't do it, it was never originally built to do it, and we have no way to expand, that's not the right thinking for my business. We're growing, everything's got to get bigger, and you're not the guy to do it. And I think a few months later he was gone. And I brought in another operations manager, and 2 or 3 years later, we were mailing about 4 million letters a month out of our facility. The facility that could never do more than 1 million was 4 times as big. And we had to replace a lot of people, get better team members, better leadership, people who thought that it could actually be done, motivate the team. We had 2 shifts, a night shift, a day shift, a swing shift. We had to buy more equipment. So, building the operation where you could be profitable. If you have to outsource everything and it hurts your margins, it's going to take money out of your pocket and give it to another vendor. So you have to build your operation. So I think that when I talk about building your operation, for me it was about finding the right person to build my operation, because I didn't really do it. I had operations people, and they would come to me every week and say, hey, we need this technology, we need this software. And I always said, what's it going to cost? When and what is the ROI? How long, if we're going to spend $100,000 on that piece of equipment, how long is it going to take to pay for it in savings, in margin profit? And it's like, oh, I think we'll pay for it in a year. Well, no brainer. Here's $100,000, go buy it. So we're buying equipment, we're buying software to automate. So it's an important part of the business. I think a lot of CEOs come from the operations side of the business, and they're better at it than I was, but then maybe they struggle on the sales and marketing side. And for me, sales is everything. Sales drives the company, so you've got to get really good at bringing revenue in the door, and operations kind of comes second. But if you have 100 customers and you're screwing up 25 orders a month, and you're losing 25% of your customers every month because your operation is screwed up, you got to fix it, you know? If you're making a lot of mistakes, standard operating procedures, quality control, we had problems with, making mistakes on job and making customers angry, and we'd lose customers. You've got to fix that leaking hole in your boat. We were making mistakes on 10% of the jobs we fulfilled because we didn't have enough people, we didn't have enough equipment. Everybody was running at a level 10 all the time. So I finally figured out I need to overstaff. I need to make sure people can take breaks so they can focus on their work. We put a lot of quality control things into place. I think in the end, we were making one mistake for every 100 jobs. We got our mistake ratio from 10% down to 1%. And that was pretty good. The business grew and we didn't lose customers. I remember working at a company one time, and oh my gosh, it was, the salespeople would come to me as the manager and say, Jeff, I just sold this job and production screwed it up. And they would be so mad because they might have worked for 6 months to sell that customer. And then when they finally get them in the door and get the money in the door, somebody on the production side makes a mistake and costs them the customer. That customer might have been worth $50,000 a year in income to them of repeat business, and it took them 6 months to get them. They would be so defeated. That company that I worked for, literally, I bet you I lost 5 salespeople who quit because the operation wasn't running smoothly, and we were screwing up jobs and screwing up their customers. And if you're a good salesperson, you care about your customers. You care about doing a good job and living up to your word and doing what you promised, having integrity. And I've worked at companies that the operation was so screwed up that we lost customers, therefore we lost salespeople, and our revenue was going down instead of up. It was horrible. Sometimes it was, hey, we're paying minimum wage, which 20 years ago was probably $6 or $7 an hour. Maybe we need to pay $8 or $9 an hour to get smarter people to stop making these mistakes. So again, it's taking a holistic approach, looking at the whole business. If you've got holes in your boat in operations or productions or delivery or even service level agreements and you're not hitting the time frames, you got to fix that or else the business isn't going to grow. You've got to be able to keep customers. And 3 ways to grow revenue: more customers, bigger orders, more often. Everybody focuses on more customers. Let's go get more customers. Let's go get more customers. If you have a hole in your boat and the customers are leaving and going somewhere else, you lose all the repeat business, and that's where business is profitable, is repeat, because it's 10 times easier to sell an existing customer more product than it is to go find a new one. So you got to plug the holes in your boat in operations, and you've got to find a way to sell bigger orders, And if you screw up the small job, they're not going to give you the big job. So you're inching to get more of a client's budget, bigger orders, and if you can't do it small, so operations is crucial to find the right person and set the right expectations as a CEO to hold them accountable to do what you need done and to build the operation so it matches the business. So we will look at your operation. We'll probably interview your management staff if you have a manager, and we'll interview the salespeople. We'll find out pretty quick. What do you think of this operation? CEO says it's great. Salespeople go, they screw up 50% of my jobs. It's terrible. There's a discrepancy, and we will go to work on fixing that with people or process or technology systems to make sure there's not holes in your boat and we're spending more time bailing water out than rowing, So look forward to talking to you about your operation. If Grow My Profit can help in that area, we will certainly dig in and help, because every one of these steps is important for the overall growth of the business. So look forward to talking to you. Reach out to growmyprofit.com. Hopefully I get to talk to you one-on-one and make a difference in your business someday. Thanks.